To solve an equation of the form x squared is equal to a number, we need to think of what we can do with the left side to isolate x. When we get rid of the 2 exponent, the inverse operation of squaring something is to take the square root. So here we're going to solve this equation by taking the square root of both sides. However, it's very important to remember positive numbers have 2 square roots. For example, if we think of the number 9, 3 times 3 is 9, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. So the square roots of 9 would be 3 or negative 3. In this case, when we take the square root of both sides to solve, we need to remember that the square root of 16 could be 4 or negative 4. So on the left side, the square root of x squared, we write x. On the right side, we would put plus or minus 4. What this means, this is a way of combining the statements x equals 4 or x equals negative 4. Putting that plus or minus symbol means we actually have 2 different answers where the 4 could be positive or negative. Let's look at another equation. Suppose we have x squared equals 45. And to get rid of the 2 exponent, we take the square root of both sides. Whenever you're solving an equation and you take the square root of both sides of the equation, it's a good habit to go ahead and put a plus or minus symbol in front of the number on the right side. Here now, the square root of x squared simplifies to be x. On the right side, 45 is not a perfect square, but we can split it up into parts so that we can simplify part of it. We look for a perfect square that's a factor of 45. Perfect squares are numbers like 4, 9, 16, 25. And it turns out 9 goes into 45 5 times. So we write the square root of 9 times the square root of 5. And to finish, leaving that plus or minus at the front, the square root of 9 is 3, and the part we can't simplify, we leave alone. So here we would write x equals plus or minus 3 square root of 5. If you wanted to list the solutions individually, the solutions would be negative 3 square root of 5 and positive 3 square root of 5. If you'd like to try the next 2 problems on your own, pause the video now and resume when you're ready to see the solutions. For x squared equals 36, we take the square root of both sides, and the important habit is when you're solving equations and you take the square root of both sides, stick a plus or minus sign in front of the number on the right side. The square root of x squared is x. On the right side, we end up with plus or minus 6. So if we wanted to list the answers individually, our solutions would be negative 6 and 6. Looking at x squared equals 24, we take the square root of both sides. The square root of x squared is x. The important thing to remember is, because we took the square root of both sides, we stick a plus or minus at the beginning of the right side. 24 is not a perfect square, but we can simplify it by splitting it up into the square root of 4 times the square root of 6. The square root of 4 is 2, so we have plus or minus 2 square root of 6. Or if we wanted to write them individually, the solutions would be negative 2 square root of 6 and positive 2 square root of 6.